Some love stories are sweet and slow-blooming, like a gentle spring morning, but others are jagged, raw-edged, and rooted in pain where hearts clash like thunder, and the past wraps itself around the present like a vice. Leave Me Behind is not a romance wrapped in a ribbon. It is a war between survival and surrender, a journey of healing through chaos, and a raw look into what it means to be broken, yet still daring to love. It's the kind of story that grabs you by the throat from page 1 and drags you through every tear, every wound, every reluctant smile until you're breathless. This is not just a second-chance romance, it's an emotional reckoning, and it begins with a man who never thought he'd feel anything again, and a woman whose pain is buried so deep she's forgotten how to let anyone in. Rowan Montgomery is a man built from shadows. A military vet who has seen more death than life, Rowan has returned home with scars, both visible and hidden. He doesn't want connection or comfort. He wants silence, peace, a life where he doesn't have to explain why he can't sleep or why the sound of fireworks makes him flinch. He buys a remote property deep in the Montana woods, and that's where he intends to stay alone and unnoticed. But fate never asked for his permission. It had other plans, and those plans came with eyes the color of heartbreak and a voice soft enough to crack open a storm. Addison Carter is barely holding it together. She's got bruises on her soul and chains around her spirit. Running from a past that nearly destroyed her, she arrives in the tiny town of Redemption Falls with nothing but a bag of clothes, a fake smile, and a job at the local diner. She doesn't trust easily, and she has no intention of getting involved with anyone, especially not a gruff-bearded stranger who looks like he could rip her world in two. But there's something about Rowan, something in his silence that matches her own pain, something in his eyes that sees her even when she's hiding. Their first encounter is anything but friendly. He's distant, cold, guarded. She's wary, cautious, exhausted. But when she accidentally drops a tray of drinks and he silently helps her pick up the shattered glass without judgment or condescension, something shifts. That moment of quiet understanding becomes the first thread in a bond neither of them saw coming. Over the weeks that follow, they find themselves drawn together again and again until the invisible walls between them start to crumble. Brick by brick, Rowan doesn't want to feel, but Addison makes it impossible not to. She moves like a ghost through her own life, but around him she begins to breathe. He hears her laughter once and it haunts him. He sees her flinch when someone raises their voice and it enrages him. And every time she smiles, it cuts through the darkness he's buried himself in. But Rowan knows he's not whole. He's not safe. He's not good for anyone, especially not her. And Addison, she's got secrets that could unravel the fragile connection they've started to build. As their lives begin to intertwine, Rowan offers Addison a job helping with renovations on his property. It's supposed to be temporary, just something to keep her busy. But in the stillness of the forest, in the quiet rhythm of rebuilding, they both begin to heal in ways they didn't think possible. Rowan learns to speak again, not with words, but with actions. A mug of coffee left on the porch, a repaired lock on her broken door, a hand on her back when nightmares wake her. And Addison starts to trust again, not because he asks her to, but because he never pushes, never pries, never pretends to be anything other than what he is. But peace is fragile, and the past has a cruel way of finding you, even when you think you've outrun it. Addison's abuser, a man who once claimed to love her, is looking for her. He doesn't care that she left. He doesn't care that she's scared. He wants control. And he's willing to destroy anything that gets in his way. When the threats begin, Rowan goes into protector mode. He's lived through war, and he's not about to let this man bring harm to the one person who has made him feel again. What follows is a heart-pounding mix of suspense and emotion, as Rowan and Addison are forced to confront their demons head-on. Rowan must deal with his PTSD, his guilt, his belief that he's unlovable. Addison must decide if she's ready to stop running, if she can stand and fight for the life she's begun to imagine. And together, they must choose whether they are stronger, apart, or if maybe, just maybe, they can be each other's salvation. The beauty of Leave Me Behind lies not just in the romance, but in the healing journey it portrays. Moronova doesn't shy away from the harsh realities of trauma, abuse, and recovery. The story is honest, raw, and at times difficult to read, but it's also infused with moments of pure quiet grace. The forest setting mirrors the emotional wilderness the characters must navigate, and the pacing allows for deep character development that feels authentic and earned. Rowan is not your typical alpha hero. He doesn't shout or throw punches to claim dominance. His strength is in his patience, his loyalty, his quiet endurance. He's a man who listens even when he doesn't speak, who stands guard even when he's crumbling inside. Addison is not a damsel in distress. She's a survivor. Every step she takes toward reclaiming her life is a triumph. Her vulnerability is powerful, not weak, and her bravery lies in letting herself be seen, even when it hurts. Their relationship builds slowly, like a fire coaxed from damp wood. There's no instant love, no magic cure, just two broken people finding comfort in each other's presence, learning how to be whole without pretending to be fixed. Their love story is earned, and when it finally ignites, it burns with the kind of intensity that only comes from true understanding. There are secondary characters too, who add depth to the narrative. Local diner owner Jess, who gives Addison a chance. when no one else would, Rowan's old military buddy, Caleb, who checks in even when Rowan pushes him away, Sheriff Nolan, who senses something off and quietly keeps an eye out. These characters flesh out the small town of Redemption Falls and provide warmth without taking focus from the central pair. The climax of the book is tense and emotionally charged. When Addison's past catches up to her, it's not just a moment of danger but a reckoning. Rowan has to face whether he can truly protect someone he loves, and Addison must decide if she's strong enough to stop hiding. The final confrontation is handled with intensity and realism, and the aftermath doesn't offer easy answers. Healing is never linear, and Moronova doesn't pretend otherwise. But what she does give us is hope. By the time the story reaches its quiet, tender conclusion, Rowan and Addison are no longer the people they were at the beginning. They're still flawed, still scarred, but they've stopped bleeding. They've built something new, not just a home, but a life together, and the message is clear. Love doesn't save you, but it can give you something to live for. Leave Me Behind is a love story for those who've been through the fire. It's for the ones who've been told they're too broken to be loved, for the ones who've survived things they never talk about. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let someone stay when every part of you wants to push them away. It's romantic, emotional, deeply human, and unforgettable. If you're looking for a book that will stir your soul, break your heart, and slowly piece it back together, this one delivers. You'll ache for Rowan and Addison. You'll root for their healing. You'll feel every moment of pain and every flicker of light. And by the end, you won't want to leave.